So we talked about elimination. Remember, a synonym for elimination means to cancel. So we have to cancel items out. But in order to cancel one of the things, we need to have a coefficient. You wrote this down before. So same coefficients, but opposite signs, right? So just keep in mind that we need that. We did those two examples. We did that example. So if it doesn't have the same coefficient but opposite signs, we're going to need to multiply first. So let's look at our coefficients. We have for our x's, we have a 4 and a -1. For our y's, we have a -5 and a -2. So we before had two threes. So we just needed to multiply by a -1. But now we have to figure out which ones we want to multiply. So this is really just a case of you choosing what variable. I'm going to say let's look at x's because I only have to multiply one equation. So how can I turn a 1 into a 4? Because we want it to stay negative, but it just needs to be a 4. So what can I multiply 1 by for it to become a 4x? Well, I can multiply it by 4. So we're going to multiply this whole bottom equation by 4. So 4 times -1 is -4x. 4 times -2 is -8y. And 8 times 4 is 32. So now I have the same number but opposite signs. And that's what I need. So what I'm going to do really quick is just rewrite this equation down here. So once I have the same number but opposite signs, we simply add these up. So my 4x's cancel. -8 plus -5 is -13. And 32 plus -19, which I don't know what that is 13. Now we're just going to divide by -13. And we get y equals -1. Remember, our answer's in ordered pair. So we have y. We still need to find x. So we plug that y back into one of these two equations. It doesn't matter which one. It's your choice. I'm just going to plug it into the top one, I guess. So we have 4x minus 5y equals -19. I know that y is equal to -1, so I'm going to place y with -1. So I'm going to erase that y. I'm going to put in a -1. So 4x -5 times -1 is +5. Then I just solve that two-step equation. I subtract 5 on both sides. And then I divide by 4. So then there's my ordered pair. So again, we need same coefficient but opposite signs. Sometimes you'll have to multiply by something. We decided to multiply this bottom equation by a 4. So it would become the opposite of that other equation. And then we just added them up and plugged it back in to get our ordered pair. Now we're going to do some word problems. We can choose which one we want to do. That one has big numbers. I don't feel like doing that one. But this one's about flowers, which isn't super helpful. But we are going to read this and then figure out what two things we're comparing and then write equations. So writing equations for elimination is a lot easier than substitution because like each sentence is its own equation, which is nice. So let's first define our variables. So we have an x equals and a y equals. Our thing says you buy 6 hostas and 15 daylilies for 171. Your friend buys 3 hostas and 12 daylilies for 117. Find the cost of each flower. So what two things are we comparing? That's what we have to figure out. Well, we're comparing the two flowers. So the first flower we're talking about is a hosta. So this is the number of hostas. And the other one is daylilies. So the number of daylilies. Okay, so those are the two things we're comparing. Our first sentence says we buy 6 hostas, 15 daylilies for 171. So that's one equation. So we're going to write 6x. The word and tells me to add. Hot daylilies is y, so 15y equals 171. My other equation is this sentence. 3 hostas, 12 daylilies for 117. So that's 3x plus 12y equals 117. Now, do we have the same number anywhere? Same coefficient? I see a 6 and a 3 and a 15 and a 12. So the answer is not the same coefficient. But can we multiply one of these by something to get the same? So I would start with my smaller numbers. So can I multiply 3 by anything for it to become a 6? Hopefully you're thinking, absolutely. I can multiply 3 by 2. And when I do that, it becomes 6. But then they're the same signs, and I need them to be opposite signs. So instead of just multiplying by 2, we're going to multiply it by a -2, because then I'll have a 6 and a -6, which is what I want. So let's multiply this by -2. We get -6x. We get -24y. And I have no idea what that is. I'm pretty sure it's 234. I am just going to rewrite this equation. I'm just rewriting it to bring it down. So that way they are next to each other. Once I have same numbers but opposite signs, all I do is just add these up, remember? So if you could solve this now, go for it. So pause the video and solve it for me. That's what I'd like you to do. Pause the video, solve this. And then divide. Oh, this was a negative. That's a negative. Whoops. I missed my negative sign. But I'm not going back. So hopefully you unpaused and we're listening. So y is 7. Now we need to find x. We plug it into one of the original two, your choice. I'm going to go with the lower one because it's smaller numbers. So I'm plugging it into 3x plus 12y equals 117. I'm plugging 7 in for y. So I'm going to replace y with 7. Ooh, 12 times 7 is 84. No, yes. Yes. And then subtract it. Divide by 3. X equals 11. So now we have to take that 11 and our 7 and write a sentence. So x was the number of hostas. Y was the number of daylilies. So, and we were talking about, oh, this shouldn't have been number. This was cost because we know how many we bought of each. Oh boy, I did all sorts of things wrong. You were probably thinking that as I was doing it. Find the cost of each flower. Duh, Mrs. Andrew. Okay. The hosta cost $11. And the daylily. Okay, that doesn't look like that. The daylily. Daylilies cost $7. Okay, your homework tonight is to do number 8. You're gonna have to multiply some things, but there's no word problems, thankfully. Okay.